G'day, it's Heath here from pickinglessons.com. O'Carolan's Dream. Isn't this such a beautiful tune? In this lesson, we're going to take a look at an arrangement here on the mandolin where we're featuring the chord melody technique, where we basically scatter in our chordal accompaniment throughout the arrangement, supporting the melody. In a moment, we're going to take a look at an exercise to introduce us to the technique in the first four measures. It's a great way of getting into it. But if you head over to pickinglessons.com, you better get yourself a copy of the chart, the tablature that we're working from. You'll also find the remainder of this lesson in the members section there, where we'll break down all of part A and part B and look at what we need to really focus on for this tune. Okay, so let's have a look now together at these first four measures. We're in the key of A minor, and basically what we're trying to do is support our melody with chords as we go through. I'll give you an example of this melody just on its own. So there we have the melody, and if you follow along in the music, you'll notice that the melody is always on top. It's always going to be on top of any chord we play, and it's always the highest note we hear. It really helps for the melody to be strong that way. It doesn't have to be played on top, but it certainly does help, and we really do want the melody to be the strongest part of what we're hearing. So there's the melody on its own. Now here's the melody with the chord melody type accompaniment behind it. So you can hear there, it's certainly changed how it sounds, and we're using chords within the key of A minor basically to support what we're doing here at the moment. We've got an A minor, we've got a G, we've got a C, we've got an F, and the G there again. So what we're going to do here is basically set ourselves up to practice hitting those chords cleanly. So as we work our way through, remembering that the melody is always going to be the most dominant part of what we're hearing. I like to describe it as the melody is king. So it's always at the forefront. So whatever we're doing with those chords, they need to be strong and clear, but the melody wants to be on top and be heard. So let's try this first opening measure. We're in 4/4 time. Well, that's pretty straightforward. We'll talk a little bit about our picking as we go, but really it's focusing on the chords. Let's do that to begin with. The first A minor position that we have to kick us off within the melody is this C on top and our barred first finger over the A and the E notes. So just a 3-note triad, and our melody note ends up being the C. So we want to make sure as we follow through that we're hitting that second string and making sure that last note we hear is nice and strong. I like to bring the pick in to that first string as I finish my follow through. And as I do that, I'm kind of scooping my pick slightly into the mandolin, finishing on string 1, which really helps to strengthen that last note. But bear in mind, the C note is what we want to hear out of those three the most clearly. The G, when we get to that on the third beat, so it's a 2-note chord, a double stop. We've got the low B and a G on top. G is the melody. And again, same technique can be applied. So that follow through, finishing on string 2, coming to rest on string 2, letting the pick kind of head slightly towards the mandolin as we finish our follow through. So our A minor position and our G position. Now let's put some melody in there. So the melody is with those chords. We repeat here. So as an opening exercise for this arrangement, for this technique though as well, try to push those chords into your playing in amongst that melody. Play them cleanly, but making sure the melody is always at the forefront of what we're hearing. You'll find that some of these chords are harder to play than others. Like that A minor can be a challenge. You make sure your hand gets in the position nice and strong there with that first finger barred. You could approach it with 3 fingers if you've got smaller fingers. That could certainly work. I find that a bit hard to get those fingers in cleanly, so I'm barring, but you could use 3 fingers, 1 on each note. melody, 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 melody. That's the most important part, really keeping that melody really clear. So that first opening section, 2 bars, is a great exercise. Melody, chord, melody, really clear. Melody on top, C note, and the G. Let's have a look at the next couple of measures, a couple of extra chords there. We've got a C shape we've got to look at. Melody is the last note of the chord there, the high E. Back to that A minor with the C note melody. Measure 4, we have the F with an A on top. That's our melody note. Back into our G double stop. So the melody we want to hear in this section, remember, always on top. With those chords, C, A minor, F, G. The technique again in the right hand, when you're playing those double stops and triads, that little push into the last note, we want to hear that melody and finishing on, kind of resting on the string that is adjacent to our melody note. So in this case, the G double stop there, my melody's on string 3. I'm coming to rest on string 2, bring that pick into rest, and that really helps strengthen that last note. So it's that sort of last little push into the string, coming to rest on string 2 in this example. Let's try running these 4 measures together. We'll include that pickup note from the beginning as well. So first 4 measures, just really slow. Do your best with these chords. 3, 4. Strong melody. Now some of these chords can be held longer than others. Just generally hold everything for as long as you can until we have to change position. Some of those chords you do need to let go of to play the next melody note. Some of them you can hold on to those chords a little bit longer, or parts of the chords at least, a little bit longer as you move into the melody. Don't let the melody suffer if you're trying to hold onto a chord and can't quite manage it and play the melody. Always go with the melody. If you can hold a chord, like the F is a good example, if you can hold that chord and play the next melody note without too much worry in your left hand, great. If you can't, for example with, the A minor is a good example, that A minor, switching position to play the next melody notes is how I'm going about that. You could bar it, but you're gonna have to remove it for the open string anyway. Okay, so chord melody, great technique. Does make it more challenging, but it certainly makes it more of a rewarding sound amongst what we're playing. Because if we just hear the melody, while it's a great melody, we kind of need something behind it. We need a guitar or another instrument. But this way with the chord melody, we're basically accompanying ourselves. A really nice way of going about a tune. Okay, so if you head over to pickinglessons.com, we will continue this and we're going to break down the entire part A and part B of the tune, and we'll keep working through some exercises to help us learn it. And you've also got the tablature there as well. So pickinglessons.com, I'll see you there.